Okay, so assuming you got Xcode installed and are ready to go with that, let's go ahead and create our first project. So open up Xcode, and then you're going to want to hit create a new Xcode project. Then Xcode actually provides all these different templates you can use should you choose to kind of get your project started. Personally, I don't mess with any of the other templates because they add a lot of template code and it can actually make it kind of confusing. Um, But yeah, so most of the time I just go with the single view application, which is pretty standard. It'll just give you a single view and set your project up kind of in the most standard way. So let's go with single view application, and then you're going to want to give your product a name. So we are doing basically a clone of Snapchat. So feel free to pick your own name or come up with something fun. I'm actually going to go with Ghost Chat. So I'll just type in Ghost Chat. Organization name, don't really worry about this. You can just put your name. If you had a company, you would put your company name here, and then your identifier would be com.yourcompany. But these two fields don't really matter until you go to submit to the App Store, and even then, they're not really that big of a deal. They're just kind of there and help identify your app basically. Um, and then for language, we're going to go to Objective C, and then devices. Um, we're going to go with the iPhone. So actually, developing a universal project is not that much different. The template adds in a couple extra files when you do universal that I don't really want to mess with right now, and um, just want to get an iPhone app out there basically. Make sure these three boxes are unchecked as well. Core data, feel free to look into it. It's pretty intense stuff. It's kind of like a local database that you can use. Unit tests, again, pretty intense stuff, but good to know. But yeah, this is the basics you need. So let's go next, and then you're going to want to create or pick where you're going to want to save this project. So I have a folder on my desktop called Code, where I have a range of projects. So I'm just going to put it in this folder. New folder. I'm going to call it Ghost Chat um, Project. I already have Ghost Chat newly finished in a different project. So let's create that. And then, yeah, just hit create again. And Xcode will load up our project. So this is your app. Just a quick walk through Xcode. This page that you can get to just by going up here, clicking here, gives you just the general information about your app. More so like, the bundle identifier, the version, what team, um, what you're targeting, kind of all the stuff we just filled out. And then this is where you go to add other kind of project related stuff, not necessarily code. But we won't mess with this too much right now. So this is kind of the root of your project. This is everything that's going to be in your folder if you were to go to desktop and look at your folder. So the first thing I want to show you is the storyboard. So this is one of the main building blocks of the app. And the storyboard basically lays out all your views for you. So this is where you design your views and kind of connect it to your code. First thing I want to do with the storyboard is actually click on this. So you can double click or click up here. And actually, sorry, the first thing I want to do is disable size classes. So you see this down here, it's width any, height any. So Xcode, I want to say a few years ago, released this thing called size classes, which basically would let you have different storyboards for different views based on kind of their width and height. And it's really useful if you're doing iPad and iPhone at once. But if you're just doing iPhone, it's actually it makes it a lot harder to make the layout responsive. And since we're doing iPhone, I'm going to turn this off. And so to do that, click on Storyboard, make sure this is selected, come over to this right pane, and hit the document tab, which is on the left, and we're going to disable size classes. And yeah, keep that as iPhone and disable. Okay, so we don't have to mess with that anymore. And if in case you don't have this right pane, you can just enable it with that. Okay, so back to our view. So this is the only view we have in our application right now, and this is actually representing a view controller. So a view controller is one of the main building blocks of building apps. So all a view controller means is that there's code or a class, which is basically, yeah, just two different files of code coming together to tell, the program what to do. So a view controller is just controlling this view. So like this is the actual view. So if we go into the attributes inspector, we can actually change the background of this view right here. And this is kind of where you'll do most of your edits. So, I'm changing the view to orange. If I launch the app right now, the background will be orange. But the view controller, which is up here, and you can look at actually what class is controlling this view. So this is class view controller. So you see over here on the left that we have view controller H and view controller M. Don't worry too much about the difference between H and M. H just means header file, and M means implementation. So anything in the H file is basically public to everyone else. M is private. But regardless, them combined make the view controller class. And it's kind of confusing when I say view controller class. I mean, this should be titled like home view controller. The view controller class is more generic, like I said. Like you create tons of view controllers throughout your project. So, okay, back to storyboard. So this, just by having this class right here, means that these two files are going to control this view basically. Now you have an idea of how classes in the storyboard work together to make your app run. The next episode, we're diving a bit deeper and we'll start writing some code.